Welcome to the DK Custom Products channel. It's going to be a frequently asked questions video. I'm Dwayne and this is Kevin.
And today we're going to be looking at the EITMS, the Engine Idle Temperature Management System.
Before we get started, we'd appreciate it if you guys would like, comment, and subscribe to our channel because that would really help us out.
So we have a question that we've received quite a few times. I'm going to read the most recent one. Have you ever conducted a test to validate the effect of the cylinder cutout feature has on engine temperatures?
Right.
And by cylinder cutout, he's talking about the EITMS.
Right, which is a mouthful. So it's Engine Idle Temperature Management System.
Right. And what happens is that when the ambient temperature is 70 degrees or above, and when the engine temperature is certain degrees, they varied it year to year, model to model, but usually around 280 degrees. And when the bike is stopped or going less than a mile an hour,
yeah.
And when the idle is below 1,000 RPM, it then cuts the fuel to the rear cylinder and just pumps air through it.
Right, in an attempt to cool it off.
In an attempt to cool it off. And in the Harley literature, it says it's just for rider and passenger comfort so that rear cylinder is not radiating heat. Well, what we want to do is we want to measure how much does that rear cylinder cool down when it's just pumping air through it. So that's what we're going to be doing today.
Right, and we're going to take this opportunity to show you guys how to activate and deactivate the EITMS function.
On the EITMS, some bikes come activated when you get them from the dealership, some don't. It's very easy to activate or deactivate your EITMS. It's very simple, and you can do it with the engine running or the engine not running. But you twist the throttle forward. Turn the key on, make sure it's on run. Twist the throttle forward, and what we're looking for is the cruise control. See, it flashed orange. That means it's deactivated. Now I'm going to go ahead and activate it. I'm just going to twist this forward, and we'll see that turn green. So now it's activated. And you can do this while the bike is running. Here, I'll go ahead. That's deactivated. Now it's activated. So we're letting this thing warm up to see if when the EITMS kicks on, the temperature of the rear cylinder drops. We've been asked that by several people. I don't run the EITMS on my bike because I don't like it, and it hardly ever kicks on anyway because I usually am running my fans. But without running my fans, it should get hot enough that the EITMS will kick on. So we're waiting for the EITMS to kick on. We're going to measure the temperature of the rear cylinder before the EITMS kicks on, and then after it kicks on to see if it cools down at all with the EITMS on. Welcome to a flopped video so far. We're trying to demonstrate how the EITMS works, the Engine Idle Temperature Management System works, and it requires the engine to be at a certain temperature and the ambient temperature be at a certain temperature, and then of course for the bike to be stopped, not moving, and for the idle to be down around 1,000 RPM. So we've been trying for 45 minutes to get this thing to kick into EITMS, and I've not been able to. I have so many cooling components on this bike. My oil, we've got the oil up to 230, and we've got the engine, it's fluctuating between 250 and 270, and I just have not been able to get any warmer. You can see it's just in here idling, trying to warm up. So the purpose of the EITMS is to cool down that rear cylinder by pushing air through it instead of combustion. And so it cuts out that rear cylinder. And what we wanted to do was measure how much the temperature of that rear cylinder drops when the EITMS is enabled. But I have so many different cooling components on here that the only thing I can turn off is the fans, and I haven't had the fans on at all, but the rest of the stuff is just keeping it too cool. So we may have to finish this video another day when it's warmer out, because it is only 60 degrees out right now, and the ambient temperature does have to be 70, but it's well over 70 in there. So I just can't get it to kick on. We're gonna go ahead and try and do this video another day. 244, right? And then we're gonna stop and just idle. See, it's staying steady at 244, right? Okay. Now it's at 244, not in EITMS. Now it's in EITMS, and we're gonna let it go for a minute and see if it cools it down at all. So we're at 244 from riding around, and we stopped, and it's in EITMS, and we're seeing if the EITMS is going to reduce the engine temperature at all from 244. Now remember, that sensor that's sending the 244 Fahrenheit is in the front of the rear cylinder, and the rear cylinder is what's pumping air. So we can see that even by pumping air, look at, the temperature went up, not down. And the rear cylinder is not even firing right now because it's an EITMS. So no, to answer the question, does EITMS cool down? Nope. Let's see if it goes up anymore. Let's go and see if riding it, if it cools it down when it's not in EITMS. Okay, it's not in EITMS right now. It's 248. Ambient temperature is 94. You see that there? And now it just went back into EITMS. So let's see if it cools down at all. EITMS is having absolutely no effect on the temperature. If y'all found this video useful, we appreciate if you give it a thumbs up. If you have any questions, please leave us a comment or shoot us an email at support@dkcustomproducts.com. Y'all ride safe out there.